Good morning, nation. Can y'all see me and hear me before we get started? How's everybody doing this morning? There's like a 10 or 15-second delay here, so if I'm 5x5 in myself, it takes me a second. I'm sorry. Oh, we got some action here. What's going on? All right. It appears as though we are 5x5. I appreciate it. Thank you, Nana. So let's see who's in the house. I was watching the chat for a few minutes there right before I went on. Night of the Living Prepper. What's up, brother? Don Gray the Beard. Marley's in the house. River Rat is in the house. Shorty is in the house. There's been a lot of new faces also. So for you newbies, welcome. We're going to try and do this Monday through Friday. For all of the regular faces, how many lists do y'all think we're on right now? It's got to be a few, right? We're getting flagged all over the place. Jonathan Hicks, what's up, brother? Kimberly, hello. Good morning, Blossom. All right, so a lot of stuff to talk about this morning. Some of the stuff is things I missed yesterday, and I went back through the chat and picked it up. And then some stuff going on. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about water. We're going to talk about America 2024. Are we still going to be here, son? Who knows? Jennifer Cruz. I missed this yesterday. Congrats. Jennifer Cruz is expecting a child. And I totally missed it yesterday because I was rambling. So I'm sorry about that. But congrats, ma'am. Baby prepper on the way. The more the merrier when it comes to prepping, right? And I need you folks to tell me what is Biden's 6-point plan. I saw you folks talking about that in the chat. Excuse me. Seems like nap. I can't come up with 6 things. Nap, eating ice cream, trying to find Kamala, walking into the wrong buildings when he's out of the country. I don't know. I haven't researched it, to be honest. I'm almost afraid to after the Afghanistan plan, but I guess I need to look into that. You guys are saying medical. Well, that's not going to be good. I can tell you right now. Sniffing hair. Thank you, Nan. I forgot that one. Oh, boy. He will tell us, Jones says he will tell us today what the plan is. Well, that's awesome. I wonder if he will also stand up there and basically admit that he's not really running the country again. He seems to do that a lot, right? He seems to stand up behind the podium and say, well, they won't let me do this, and they tell me to call on people. And yeah. So if I disappear later on, y'all know why now. Good morning, David Williams. Pee pads and knee pads. Can't count to 6 between them. Mames. Wow. Oh, wow. I'll just leave that there. So thank y'all, by the way, all 200 and some people that emailed and commented yesterday to enlighten me that Coke actually owns Powerade and not Gatorade. Thank you for clearing that up. I was getting emails until about 2 a.m. this morning. People saying, no, son, Coke does not own Gatorade. So there you go. They actually own Powerade. Yeah. I make mistakes sometimes. I knew they owned one or the other, but I mean, really, y'all, I'm not in the soft drink industry. So there you go. Gatorade is Pepsi, same difference. To heck with them both. And that comes from Patrick. Well, there's store brands and things like that and off brands. And I assume they're pretty much the same thing. I don't really know for sure. Let's talk about water. All right, some prepping. I know. So I got an email, and I'm paraphrasing here. I got an email. It was several weeks ago. It was from a lady. She's been prepping for, at the time of the email, about a year, she said. And her husband is not a prepper, but he was okay with her prepping as long as she could fit everything in one area, like the cupboard and stuff. Because they lived in a city, they lived in an apartment, and they had a limited room. So they were having a disagreement on water. he does not want this lady. She said they talked about it several times. He did not want her prepping water. He didn't want cases of water under the bed or over in a corner somewhere. Again, limited on room. He said that, their plan was going to be, I think he said 2 miles from their front door, they had water. I don't know if this is a river, a pond, or whatever the case may be. He said, I'll just go get water if we need water during an SHTF. And she had emailed and she said, is this a real plan? And I replied and said, no, not long term. And I explained to her why, and I wanted to explain this morning. Because I think what her husband was doing was armchair prepping. He's basically sitting on the couch saying, oh, baby, I'll go get the water that we need. It's only 2 miles away. He's never really had to do it. He doesn't understand how much water is involved. So we're going to get into it. How much water do you need each day in order to survive? Well, the recommended amount is 4 of these, around 64 ounces. But here's the deal. Okay, that's short term. That is life or death. That is, you've got food prepped that is open and eat. Stuff like trail mix, beef jerky, things like this. And you're squatting in an apartment. There's chaos all outside. You can't go outside. Again, short term. Long term, you're going to need a whole lot more than that. You're going to need, per person, this is what I suggested to her, per day, a 5-gallon bucket. Okay, you're going to need about 5 gallons. Here's why. You're going to have to use water for other things. I'll talk to preppers. They got 200 pounds of rice. Awesome. 200 pounds of beans. Awesome. That's going to take a lot of water to cook. Okay. You're going to eventually, most of you anyway, you're going to have to wash your hair, your face, under your arms. I got to, wash the Jonaconda down here. You got to wash stuff that gets nasty. All right. You're going to need water to do this. So to make sure you have enough, 5-gallon bucket per person per day. They have 2 kids. So you're looking at the man having to carry 4 of these full of water. I've never done that. I've carried 2 at a time full of water. And what I can tell you is after about 100 yards or so, your shoulders are on fire. If you've ever hung sheetrock and held it up, that's what it feels like after 100 yards or so. So unless this lady is married to Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, he is going to have to now make 2 trips. All right. He's going to be carrying 2 buckets down, 2 miles, 2 miles back. So that's 8 miles total that he is going to have to carry water every single day. While he is carrying these, he's totally exposed. If there are marauders, you got water in your hands. You take the potential of getting robbed, or the potential of someone following you home, making all these trips. It's just a dumb plan. Again, I think it's a plan where somebody's sitting on the couch and they don't understand. So I told her, I said, look, have him dry run it. Hand him 4 of these things, tell him you need them full, go to the waterway and do it. And then after that, if you can push him into it, maybe, they may not be married now. She may have suggested that, and he's like, I'm out of here, honey. But after that, he's probably going to let you start stockpiling a little water. You need some water on hand, okay? I understand some people don't have enough room, but you got to make room somewhere, bottom of a closet, under a bed. I told her to get some of these at a balcony, small, and I said, throw them outside when it's raining. It's better than nothing. So you want to factor in, again, they say 64 ounces just to survive. I just want to mention you want to factor in your weight and also how much activity you're doing during SHTF. So for this cat, if he is carrying 4 of these and he's walking a grand total of 8 miles, he's going to need a lot more food and water. Just my opinion. What are y'all's thoughts there? I've not been watching the chat here. 5 gallons is 42 pounds. Let me see here. That was a great, I did not know how much it weighed. Tiger, 5 gallons equals 42 pounds. I knew it was a lot. So imagine 84 pounds. You're carrying 2 miles. and then you have to go back and make another trip, and that's every day. It's just not a good plan. What is going to end up happening if he doesn't wake up, I think, is he's going to be waiting on FEMA or the Red Cross or somebody to bring him water. So there you go. And I realize a bunch of people are in the same spot where maybe they're prepping and their spouse is not on board. So maybe, if you're in that position, don't get yourself divorced, but just sit down and bring up a realistic scenario, like a tornado, or a hurricane. Just had one of those down south, and say, what is our plan exactly? Especially if it's your husband. Your husband's supposed to take care of you. Say, what is the plan? How do you plan on taking care of us? Maybe that'll wake him up. I don't know. But there you go. That's my rant on water this morning. Tamara says, good luck with that. Yeah, I would not want to be that guy walking a grand total of 8 miles, carrying all that stuff during SHTF when it's probably not safe outside. Jennifer Cruz, I gave you a shout out at the beginning. Congrats, ma'am. I totally missed that yesterday, but I was telling people that it's going to be awesome to have another little prepper in the world. So congrats, ma'am. Tim Osman, is a CB radio worth it? I think so, but you want to be careful depending on what the SHTF is. You don't want to bring unwanted attention your way, but if the grid's down or something like that, yeah, it's a good thing. River Rat, CB radio is going FM soon. I did not know that. Wine Sipper says, if you're using 1 gallon of water a day or less, the flies will find you within 2 or 3 days. Yeah, I mean, here, okay, so 4 or 5 times during the winter, the power will go out. 2 or 3 of those times, it's out for several days. And for whatever reason, I don't know the logistics of it, when the power's out for over an hour or so in this area, we lose water. So we found out pretty quickly how bad it sucks not to have water. One of the first things we started prepping after that was paper plates, like the plastic forks and spoons and stuff. Those things are paramount if you do not have, a lot of water, because it does save on a lot of dishes and things. So, you guys know how I have a theory to kick to you. Do you know how Joe has been talking and rambling here and there about a winter that is going to be very dark? I'm trying to put it in a way that doesn't trip the algorithm. I have a theory. Y'all want to hear it? Give me your thoughts on it. So we had talked, I think, on Patreon about half of corporate America is expected to push mandates on its employees by the end of the year, winter. We have severe shortages. We have inflation popping up. And now they're saying that hospitals, doctors' offices, and like the walk-in medical clinics are completely overloaded. Wintertime comes, people begin to get sick in other ways, not just the C19. Is this the dark winter they are talking about? Are people going to be turned away from hospitals and things? Colorado 75, love to hear about the winter. I do too, but not necessarily Joe's. Joe's 6-point plan, people are still talking about it. Bobby, spit it out, son. Say what is on your mind. I can't, unfortunately, do that here. But I'm saying that if hospitals and things are completely overloaded this winter and people start to get sick, we may see a lot of people pass away from other illnesses because they can't be seen at medical clinics and stuff like that. And then on top of the shortages we have now, the coming shortages, There's not enough food to go around. A lot of people have figured this out, I think, and then them pushing the mandates, draconian style. I mean, all of this stuff seems like it's going to clash together this winter. So maybe prep for that. Yesterday, somebody asked if we can expect a false flag around 9/11. I don't have the answer, to be honest. I think it is possible, especially I just read this morning where last night, refugees that had just gotten here from Afghanistan, they were on a military base. They called an Uber and they left the military base. Nobody knows where these folks went, what they were doing. I don't know if they were clubbing. Maybe they went to Walmart. Who knows? But with stuff like that going on and people not being vetted, I would say it's very possible. Ray Mysterious. Magic Prepper made a video about the government making prepping illegal. I need to go watch that. And confiscating people's preps. Well, that's going to be a problem. I do think that they are targeting preppers. I do think that's why you're starting to see messages like on Facebook, is this person a little too prepared? Stuff like that. They don't want people to be prepared, is the thing. Because if you're prepared and you can take care of your own business, you don't need the government, and you're less likely, I think, to take the knee. But confiscating stuff, for me, really crosses the line. Who's going to confiscate it? Is this the point in time where law enforcement decides, hey, we're out of here, or hey, we're going to do what the government tells us to do, and we're going to go get people's stuff? That's going to be a problem. Nana says, don't buy Life Straw products. I've heard that they're actually a woke company. I did not know that. I do actually have several, but there are other brands out there that do the same thing. So yeah, Sawyer minis are a little better anyway, in my opinion. And I just heard that, Nana, like 2 or 3 days ago, and I was kind of disappointed with that. How are you going to be in the prepping industry and be a woke company? It kind of doesn't make sense, And everybody's saying Berkey, and that's awesome. Berkey is a great choice. If we bug out, we're taking our Berkey, but it does take up a lot more room than, a small straw if you have to just grab a bug out bag and go. Jennifer Grubb, keep your preps private, always. But if the government starts going door to door, that's going to be an issue. If you're ordering a lot of stuff online, I think they can figure it out. And if you're using your credit or debit card in a store to buy hundreds of dollars worth of prepping gear, they can also figure it out, I think. So be sure you use cash when you shop locally, and shop locally if you can. Especially your military surplus stores, because they're not keeping a record of that. You know what I mean? Most of those folks are patriots also. Sue says, best get the guns first. Well, they're going to, unfortunately, Sue, I think they're going to push for that as well. They're chipping away, but at some point, they're just going to get out in the wide open and try and take the Second Amendment away. Which is sad, because the government really, your right to defend yourself doesn't really come from government in the first place. You have that right as soon as you're born, and for the government to try and take it away. Vivian is in the house. Vivian, I missed one of your comments yesterday. She was asking, we were talking about Trump derangement syndrome. And she said, what about Biden derangement syndrome? And ma'am, you are correct. I know some Trumpers that no matter what Joe Biden did, they will have none of it. But the problem is he hasn't done a whole lot of good things, in my opinion. Okay, everybody's opinion's different. But thank you for being here, ma'am. So somebody asked yesterday, are lockdowns coming back? I do believe they're coming back. The question is, will they apply to everyone? Or are they just going to apply to people that have not taken a knee? That's what I worry about. I worry about a situation, we're starting to see it in other countries now, where if you don't take the whiskey shot in these other countries, you are locked down like a prisoner, where everyone else can move about the country and they have their freedoms and stuff. So that is what I would be concerned about at this point. I do think they're coming back to some degree, yeah. Papers, please. Bad Boy Channel says papers, please. Exactly. That's what it is. It's papers, please in 2021. Gray the Beard says, I'm on a list for sure. We all are at this point. Bex says, Australia. Yeah, Australia is locked down. I just saw, what was it? I think it was Nigeria. I know it's a smaller country, but they are shutting off access to banks and commercial stores to people that have not taken the whiskey shot. Banks, you're not allowed to bank. And I just saw where a student, I think it was at Rutgers College, was actually dropped as a student because he did not take a knee and get the whiskey shot, but he was studying online. He wasn't even on campus. So they've just went way overboard with this. Churches, thank you, Orlando. That was the other thing that I saw. Churches in Nigeria. It was a lot of commercial places to shop, banks and churches. Thank you for that. And that is ridiculous. Proof of the whiskey shot to have access to non-essential stores. Yep, Blaine, you are correct. And so when we talk about lockdowns, that's what I worry about, to be honest. The people that have not kneeled down before, King Biden and King Gates, that's the problem. So the other topic this morning, and I decided to talk about it. We chatted on the backup channel about it a few months ago. We compared America to Rome, but many of you, probably dozens of you yesterday, said America will not last until 2024. On Patreon yesterday, we did a poll. Who would you vote for, in 2024? And Donald Trump was a landslide winner over there. But there were a couple of comments saying the point's moot because we're not going to be here in 2024. I think it is, it's possible that we're not here, at least not the way we are right now. Rome took decades to fall. They kind of fell in slow motion, and America is making a lot of the same mistakes. If you go back and look, especially socially and economically, they're making a lot of the same mistakes. A lot of people know Thomas Paine. He used to write pamphlets. He's really the one that spearheaded the colonies breaking away from Britain and saying, what are we doing? We can be our own country. Many people know that. What they don't know is about 15 or 20 years after America became a country, Thomas Paine admitted he regretted it because he could already see the corruption in politics and the money and the backroom deals. And he said it was a mistake to break away. And he saw this a couple of hundred years ago. So since that time, the corruption has gotten worse. The swamp has gotten deeper. And that's America's problem, I think. Lobbyists and corporate America and pharma, all this stuff, they are controlling the country. Latina Prepper, are you doing the History Channel next week? Yes and no. I'm going to put out a video over there, but I'm going to explain to you what's coming next over there, okay? Two things that you will notice when countries fail, when they begin to fail, is their economy is always in ruin, and they get tied up into endless wars with bad results. If you go back throughout history and you look at every failed state, you're going to see those two things. Our economy is in the gutter. It has been for a while. It's not getting any better. It's just getting worse. So number one is there. And we seem to get into endless wars that cost tons of money that we don't have. And here lately, I would say since World War II, they've had bad results, um, minus Iraq when we went to Iraq, but that was a very short war. Other than that, we get tied up into these endless wars, right? So I don't know that we're going to be here in 2024. The scary part is what our country would look like what the continental US would look like if we became a failed state. Is having a deep freezer a good idea? Yes, I actually have two here, or my wife does. And then we have a third one at the bug out. Orlando, money is not worth anything if it's not backed up with gold. You're absolutely right. I know people beat the drum of Venezuela, Venezuela, but if we become a failed state, you can study Venezuela now and you can see what they're short on. You can see them throwing cash out of windows. They don't care about it. Silver, they want gold, and they want resources, stuff like food and gasoline and stuff. That's where the money is at, when it becomes a failed state. Roll Tide, morning, John. Glad to see you're getting better. Thank you very much for that. I think to answer a couple of questions from yesterday, how do we survive as a country? I think there are really two end games where we survive as a country, okay? To some degree. Because it doesn't matter who gets in office, they're not going to fix the country forever. Somebody said yesterday Trump could get in, sign a bunch of executive orders, and that's correct. And that would help us out for 4 years. And then we're going to get another president come in and cancel a bunch of stuff. It just goes back and forth. It's not really fixing anything. It's a Band-Aid. And I'm not advocating for either one of these, okay, folks? Very important. I'm just telling you the two things that would fix this country. Number one would be a blue coat revolution, where people are just pushed to the brink and they are not taking it anymore. We saw this in 1776, right? The other thing would be a civil war. If we see, and I believe this is the most likely scenario, if we see states begin to secede from the Union and it causes a civil war. I don't think people are ready to grab muskets and throw blue coats on. There don't seem to be enough people in America willing to do that anymore without being told. But in a situation of civil war, when they have politicians saying, hey, we need you in here with the musket and a blue coat, in that case, I think a lot of people would be willing to. Paula says we need Jesus. We definitely do. Zombie Farmer, I'm a fan of Zombie Farmer here on YouTube. He put out an excellent video, I think it was yesterday, where he was talking about the real problem in America is the attack on the family unit. And I totally agree. They have mixed and muddied the waters on the family unit, the mother and the father, and the roles in the family to the point where it just doesn't work anymore. And without that, we are toast. We're toast. So let me see here. I got two more things. I'll be quick, I promise. Did I see a video yesterday of a lady with a gorilla mask and a pink wig hit Larry Elder with eggs? Did that happen or did I dream it? For those that don't know, Larry Elder is the front runner in California should Newsom be taken out of office. Yes, it happened. Thank you, Missy and Tare. That's insane. I get protesting, but with a gorilla mask and a pink wig, it just gets even more ridiculous, right? So these people will pound the drum of racism and all this stuff, but Larry Elder is actually black, and he's very intelligent, and I hope that he takes over California. And these communists, they don't care. They don't care that he's a minority. They're just going to try and bully him into dropping out because that's what they do. And the other thing I wanted to bring up, I just saw this before I went live. Los Angeles County Public Schools say they are considering mandating the whiskey shot, not only for staff, but for students. This is something that we need to watch very closely. Because if they do this and it's allowed to stand, you're going to see a lot of it across the United States. I think you're going to have some states that say, no, we're not doing it. But a lot of states will just line up and they're going to do it. So watch it very closely. It was kind of at the very bottom of the news. They kind of snuck it in. But forcing kids to take this thing is, yeah. Jennifer Grubb says, I will yank my kids out so fast. Same here. Not going to do it. I'll homeschool them, or I'll try to afford public school or private school or something. I'm not going to do it. Convention of States, ARCNAN. Let me write this down. I'm going to look this up and we will talk about it tomorrow, okay? Because I actually don't know a whole lot about that, and I don't really want to get into it and look like a buffoon. Homeschool, Billy H. Yes, that would be an option for me. If they try and mandate it on my kids here in school, they're going to get yanked out of school, public school, and I'll teach them myself. Billy Bob Joe, nice name, says everyone should already be homeschooling. Some people right now can't because of jobs and things, but I will make it work if they pull that off or they try to. Does anyone have anything else? I'm going to watch the replay, and then I'm going to kick over and I guess watch Magic Preppers. I didn't realize he had put that out. It doesn't show up in my timeline half the time anyway. I get all the Stacey Abrams stuff and all the, in my timeline on YouTube, I'm getting all this pro-liberalism stuff, and they bury in the prepping channels. Just be ready, it's coming, Orlando B. I would be prepping heavy for this winter. I'll close with this. I'll be prepping heavy for the winter time. If we know that hospitals and clinics are overloaded and things like this, doctors' offices, focus on over-the-counter medicines and things that you might need to get you through the winter. But anyway, that's just what I'm planning on doing anyway. 2 generators, very good. But thank y'all for being here this morning. Consider pressing the thumbs up on your way out the door. It's up to you. But be blessed, and I will talk to you in the morning.